Hey guys, it's Tammy here. I'm so excited to come back to you with another video. Tonight, I want to talk about something that's very, very important on your journey to spiritual and personal growth, and that is forgiveness. And I understand that forgiveness is very, very hard oftentimes. It's not natural to forgive. Why? Because our minds, our subconscious minds, want us to remember what happened so that we never ever do it again. Remember, your subconscious mind is all about self preservation. So it's a good thing that your mind does that because that's how you stay alive. So you know what mistakes not to make again. The problem is if we let unforgiveness happen in our life or last in our life, it can damage relationships. It can damage our own journey and our own growth. There'll be a lot of times where people will try to, I want to make more money or I want to do something different. I want to get out of this situation that I'm in. And they don't understand that the internal always affects the external. What's happening inside is always where we need to start. And so sometimes we have a block in the soul, in the vessel, and it's keeping us from doing and being what it is that we want to do. And so we keep trying to change the external, never understanding that it's really the internal that needs to change. So remember, a tree has fruit, but ultimately what determines the fruit is going to be the root. So we always got to look down at what's going on inside. And so tonight I want to talk to you guys who may have some unforgiveness inside. So listen, share this video with anybody that you think can use it. Subscribe to the channel if this is your first time, because I'm going to be bringing you guys more motivational videos and transformational videos to help you in your life. So this is what I want to talk about first before I give you the number one easiest way that you can get through forgiveness and forgive somebody who has really hurt you very, very deeply. The first thing that I want you to do is to understand whether or not you've actually forgiven someone. Because I'll hear people a lot of times will say, oh yeah, I forgave the person. Yeah, I forgave the person. Or I'm not, upset. I forgave my mom, my sister, my ex, whatever it is. But this is how you know if you truly forgiven somebody. If you talk about the situation, you talk about the story, you talk about what happened, and you have an emotional reaction. You get angry, or you get sad, or you start to cry, or it affects you the same way it did as it did when it actually happened. That is how you know you haven't truly forgiven that person. Okay? And so you really got to think about that, because if you're walking around thinking, oh, I already forgave this person, I'm good, and that's actually blocking you from your success, you won't know how to move past it. And so that's the first step. Got to figure out, is there anybody in my life that I haven't truly forgiven yet? And you got to look at what's the effect that's now having on my life. Because unless we see the effect, unless we understand the result it's creating, we'll never change it, because we're like, yeah, I want to be upset with that person. And so I've definitely had a lot of hurt in my life, as we all have. I've had a lot of situations where I've had to forgive. But the one that I'm going to talk to you about today, this technique for getting over forgiveness will help you and change and transform your life. And you can do it at home. At my retreats, I can do hypnosis. I can do all types of other processes that I can put you through to help you forgive. But ultimately, if you're at home and you want to figure out, how do I forgive this person now, you do not want to miss the rest of this video. Because what I'm going to teach you right now is called the Gethsemane prayer. Now, I know some of you are thinking, the Gethsemane prayer, like the prayer that Jesus prayed? Yes, the prayer that Jesus prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane. So just a quick little backstory for any of you guys who, don't know that story. So Jesus in the Bible, it's around the time when he's about to be turned over by one of his best friends, by the way, over to the government, and he's going to be crucified. Now, sometimes I think it can almost be taught like, oh, well, Jesus came down to the earth and he knew that he was going to die, and he died for our sins, and he was yes, he was willing. Yes, he wanted to do it, but ultimately it was a difficult thing for him. It wasn't something that was easy, because he was going to go through one of the worst, the most horrible ways to die, a crucifixion, and more importantly, he was going to be separated from God for 3 days. And that troubled his spirit. And so Jesus, had 12 disciples. He took a few of the people who were in his inner circle, okay, he took them with him to the Garden of Gethsemane, left them in an area, and he went to pray. And he prayed and he prayed and he prayed and he said, God, take this away from me. God, take it away from me. God, take if it's in your will, if it's in your will, please take this away from me. And he came back. His friends had fallen asleep on him. Can you imagine? You're going through the hardest time in your life and your friends fall asleep on you. Well, that's what happened with Jesus. His friends fell asleep on him. He went back, he prayed some more, he prayed some more, he prayed some more, came out of it, and at the end, he was ready. And as he came out of it, his accusers were coming, right? Judas was coming to turn him over. And so when you think about forgiveness, first of all, that's a huge story. So first of all, if Jesus can forgive that, what are we holding on to, right? But when I first really understood and learned the power of the Gethsemane prayer, I was 18 years old. I was a college student at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. But at that time, I had recently left high school, so I was in maybe my first semester or something like that. And one of my friends from high school contacted me to tell me that basically one of my other friends, one of my really good friends, somebody that I consider to be one of my best friends, that she really wasn't my friend, and that she'd been talking about me behind my back, and that she had been very mean, very hateful, and more important than that, she was a Christian as well, and she was like preaching and things like that. And so, she was kind of the person that I was kind of leaning on when I was going through studying the Bible and learning about Christ and learning what it really meant to have a relationship with God and to walk as a disciple of Jesus. I love the fact that I could talk to her about that, because we were kind of living the same life. And I'd found out that she had kind of made fun of me and made fun of that process, which was very, very hurtful. And so as I think about it now, I'm like, this doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But at 18, as an 18-year-old girl, this was very, very, very hurtful. I was devastated. Because there's one thing when your family hurts you because, you can't help who your family is. God gives you your family, right? But it's something else when your friends hurt you because you choose your friends, right? So it's just a little bit different, right? So she had really, 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 really hurt me. And I knew, because I had recently become a Christian, like I said, a few months before, I knew I couldn't go to bed angry. And I knew that as a Christian, I had to talk to her. I was like, oh my God. And so, but I was very, very angry. And so I, at that moment, said, Jesus, I want to be like you. And I want to pray until my heart changes. And I got down on my hands and my knees and I started to pray. And I wasn't a prayer warrior, I just knew that my heart was heavy. I knew my heart hurt, and I knew that I could not talk to her because I was still very, very angry. And so I got on my knees and I just started to pray. And again, this was years ago. So I don't even remember what I prayed, but I just remember praying. And I remember praying, God, take it away from me. Take the anger away from me. Take the hurt away. Take it away. Take it away. Lord, change my heart. I stopped praying about how angry I was at her, or I didn't pray for her to change. God, I said, God, change my heart. Change my heart. Change my heart. And that first hour I got up, I was still angry. I went back and prayed again, and kept praying. That second hour, I was still angry. But there was something in between that second and third hour. I'm going to tell you. And I don't think I've prayed that long since. I don't think I've done a 3-hour prayer in years. But something between that second and third hour broke in my spirit. It was almost like that song, I hear the chains falling. Literally, that's what it felt like. Like, it was like chains broke. And my spirit all of a sudden felt free. My spirit felt lighter. I felt refreshed. I was repowered. And more importantly, more than anything else, there was no hurt. There was no anger. And I had never experienced that before in my life. Like, it was gone. And I got up off of that floor. I picked up the phone with a smile on my face. I couldn't believe it. With a smile on my face, and I called her. And I was honest, because a lot of times we'll say, oh, I forgive this person, but then we never talk to them about it. which is also another sign that you may not have actually forgiven the person. If you don't want to talk to them about it, that's probably a very good sign that you haven't actually forgiven them. And so I picked up the phone and I told her everything that my friend had said. I was like, I know that you said this and I know that you did this. And I just want you to know I forgive you. And I meant that with everything in my heart. I had nothing, and she was upset. She was crying. Like she was the one that was like emotional, and she, in some ways tried to turn it around to say, well, our other friend is the real problem because how is he going to go back and tell you what I said, and he talks about everybody and he talks about you too, and I said, okay, I get that. I hear you. I hear exactly what you're saying, but I just want you to know that I know what happened, what you said, and that I forgive you, you know? And I will tell you something, to this day, 18 years later, 18 years later, she's still one of my best friends. And so, this is what I want you to know. If there's somebody in your life that you haven't forgiven and you want to have a relationship with them, I mean, a real relationship, not like, oh, hey, we hug, whatever, but you still have resentment in your heart, try a Gethsemane prayer. If there's somebody that you want to love again, but your heart just won't let you, or there's this pain that your heart is holding on to and you just need to let it go, try a Gethsemane prayer. It don't have to be 3 hours. It might not be 3 hours for you. It might be 20 minutes. But the prayer is, I get on my knees. I pray until my heart changes. I don't pray for the situation to be different. I don't pray for that person to change. I don't pray for something bad to happen to them. I pray for my heart to change. And when your heart changes, when God goes in there and changes your heart and unlocks it, you are unleashed and you will be amazed at what will come to you, what can flow to you now, because there's no more blockages. That is the key. That is how you get over the unforgivable. Thanks for watching. Share the videos. Guys, leave me a comment too. I'd love to hear your feedback.